name is Joseph Santiago. I am a mentor of FRC Team 4118 Roaring Riptide and a college freshman at Santa Fe College, majoring in mechanical engineering. I'm making this video to show you how to create a desk nameplate. This one is specifically for the students at PK Young um, for something that they're learning. So the nameplate that we're going to be designing is going to look something like this. Let me see if I can show it, hopefully. It's going to look something like this. And here in this little square here, you put like a gator or a fidget or whatever you want. Typically, it's going to be a gator because we are in Gainesville, Florida, for the Florida Gators. So, yeah. So what we're going to do is that, and I'll show you step by step how to do it. Hopefully, it won't be a super long video, but I'll show you through all the steps. And if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. So, we've already made our part studio, and you can name it to whatever you'd like. I'm just gonna name it to desk nameplate just because I'm making this video for it. So now that we have the nameplate, what we're gonna go ahead and do is just start off by making the base sketch, and you can make it on the top view. So you can just click top and make sure you created the sketch and you're on top plane, and you can go click on the right hand side, the view cube, you can hit top, and there you go. And you're going to go ahead and click center point rectangle or R on your keyboard. Go ahead and click the origin, left click, pan out, and left click again to, and then press escape to release. And then we're going to go ahead and make that 10 inches by 2 inches. And instead of sketch 1, we're going to name it base sketch. There you go. And you can go ahead and press the check mark. And there you go. You created your base. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to extrude that base. So press extrude or shift E on your keyboard and press the rectangle that you just created. And instead of sketch 1, we're going to name it, man, it's not a sketch that I want to create. Go ahead and exit it out if you did create a sketch. Extrude, press the rectangle. Instead of extrude 1, we're going to go ahead and create base extrude. Boom. Check it. And then we're going to go ahead and extrude at 0.25 inches instead of 1 inch. And press the check mark. There you have your base. And you can go ahead and hide the front view and right view by pressing the eye icon. You won't need it right now, so it's easier just to view it without them. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and click the sketch again. We're going to create a new sketch on this plane, on the top plane, on the top surface of the base. And instead of sketch 1, we're going to name it PKY logo sketch. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and create a rectangle, and instead of center point rectangle, we're going to go ahead and click the down arrow and choose corner rectangle, or press G on your keyboard, whichever is easier for you. And we're going to go ahead and click this leftmost point here. Click, drag to the right, and click again, left click. And we're going to dimension this length to be 2.5 inches. And then this is going to be 0.25 inches. There you go. And you can see it's all black instead of blue, so that means it's fully dimensioned, and you don't need to dimension any more of it because you just did. I'm going to go ahead and press the check mark. And after that, we're going to go ahead and extrude that rectangle that we just created. So we're going to go ahead and press extrude, shift D on your keyboard, press the rectangle that you just created. Instead of 1 inch, we're going to go ahead and create 2.75 inches. And instead of it being called extrude 1, we're going to go ahead and create PKY logo extrude. There you go, press the check mark, boom. Now you have your little rectangle extruded there. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and create a PK logo sketch. Now, that means we're going to go ahead and create another sketch on the surface of the rectangle, the front surface here. And instead of sketch 1, we're going to name it PKY logo sketch. Yeah, so PKY logo, actually, yeah, PKY logo sketch. I'm just going to name it Sketch 2 since we already have one that's named the same thing. And give me one sec. Okay. What we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and click the front view cube, the front surface, so it gets us to front. And we're going to go ahead and create a corner rectangle. And get the top left point, drag until this line here, and left click. And we're going to put it 0.5 inches. And we're going to go ahead and make another corner rectangle, but instead we're going to use this point here and to the bottom. And we're going to name that 0.5 inches. There you go. And we're going to go ahead and click the scissors or the trim tool or M on your keyboard right here. And we're going to go ahead and trim this line just so it connects the two. And then next thing that we're going to do is where it says insert image, you want to go ahead and click that. And you want to download the image of whatever logo you want to use. In this case, it's going to be the PK Young logo. So I'm gonna, give me one sec, I'm going to download the PK Young logo. Let me find it and see if I have it available and ready. Give me one sec. Okay, so we have the logo. What we're gonna go ahead and do is, you have downloaded the logo. And then once we have that logo, go ahead and upload. You can see it uploaded here. Go ahead and click left click that. And you're going to draw the image, which means you left click and drag. It doesn't matter where you left click because you can move this since it's 9 dimension, so you can move it wherever you want. What I'm going to do is, it's kind of like a, see if I, it's kind of like a case by case. It's up to you, right? How big you want the logo and where you want it. What I do is I kind of like go little by little and see how big I want it. So for example, instead of 2 inches, I'm going to put 3 inches and see how big that is. Basically, I want to fit it into this. Delete this. Okay. I want to fit it into this view cube, into this little rectangle here. So I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger. A little bit too big. What I'm trying to fit is the lettering of PK Young. I don't really care about the background of PK Young, I just care about the lettering. And then try to make it as middle as possible. Doesn't really matter if it's middle or not because I'll get to that later. And then once you have that logo, it looks middle to middle of the rectangle that you made, like this small rectangle. We're going to go ahead and click. What we're basically doing is, you have this image. We're trying to sketch the letters of this image to extrude that. It doesn't exist until we extrude the letters of the image. We're just trying to show the image on the part. And to do that, we sketch over it, basically, to get the exact lettering of it. So for example, and I am authorized to do this, by the way, just for reference, for general reference. Um, I was authorized to use this logo for making it on this part. So what we're going to do is just sketch the letters. It can be, I'm just using the line tool, and I'm just sketching as much as possible the letters. Doesn't really have to be 100% exact, just as close as you can to it, because you won't see the difference, whether it's 100% exact or just or very different. Now, if you want to, you can just get like skip over this video to where I finish, because this is gonna take me a little bit. All I'm doing is sketching over the letters. And actually for the K, I'm gonna add them together. Let's see how it goes. remember, it doesn't have to be 100% exact. I'm just using the line tool currently. So you won't see the difference when you print it out, whether it was like 100% exact, like close to the line or not. I'm just using the arc tool now, the 3-point arc. Kind of like to get the shape of this arc. There we go. And let's see. Okay. There you go. So you have the P now, and then you have the K. Now we're gonna do the Y. Just using the line tool. After a while, you'll get used to using the hotkeys or the keys on your keyboard instead of pressing every single tool that you want to use. And if you prefer to press every single tool you want to use on Onshape, that's completely up to you. Feel free to do whatever. It's just I'm used to like the keys that I use a lot. I'm just used to using them, and then just pressing on my keyboard just goes way faster in designing. And you see this is not straight, right? All you have to do is just smooth it. And then you follow the yellow line, and then now it's straight. Okay, so for the O, the quickest way to do it is just go ahead and instead of circle, I'm just going to go ahead and click the clips and try to guesstimate it. Actually, will that make a difference? Actually, scratch that. We're going to go ahead and we're going to sketch the, don't try to guesstimate it. Never mind. Sorry if you try to do exactly what I just did. Just, sometimes it's just like, don't pursue what I'm trying to do. Because it's not the best way to do it. Or the, yeah, good way to do it. Delete that. Try to follow as best as you can. It's not perfect, but once you print it, you won't see the difference. Okay, we have our O. And then we're going to make a bigger O. See if I can just do a circle. Of course, it's not an exact circle, so we're going to go ahead and sketch to it. And this time we're going to use a spline. Spline you can't measure, which means you can't give a dimension to the spline. It just takes the shape. You bend it to take the shape that you want. It's not always amazing to use, but for like weird shapes, it's good to get it's more exact, and it makes more of the shape you want exactly. You can use arcs, but splines are sometimes good for like making exact shapes. But just keep in mind you can't give a dimension to a spline. So, for example, if you want to make a spline bigger, it's a hassle. So let's do the end next. Now you can take as much time as you want on this to make it more exact, if you prefer that. I would. I'm just making the video, so I'm just showing you as an example. Now, this technique for like sketching through an image, you can do with any image, realistically. To be able to use with your design, just make sure you have authorization of whatever image that you use to be able to be used on your design. If it's someone else's image. Just gonna use the spline tool again. Let me not include that. The little circle here, I'm not gonna include that because when it's printed, you won't even be able to see it because it's so tiny. So it's not even worth it to include it because I won't even be able to see it. It won't appear on the print itself because it's so small. And how do I know that? Because when it was printed, it did not appear. So this is all from like previous experience. And as always, if you have any questions, let me know. Feel free to let me know. This video won't be perfect, but hopefully it helps you at least a little bit in designing. There we go. Okay. And then let's do this small circle. I'm actually going to make it smaller because when it's printed, it will have difficulty appearing if it's not far enough from the rest. There you go. So you have your circle here. And then there you have your last letter, which is E. Let's go ahead and make this E. And I'm doing it with the arc tool, the 3-point arc. So instead of the spline, I'm using the arc. Because for like a shape like this, it's just easier to use the arc. At least for me personally. If it's easier for you to use the spline, then go for it. Remember, CAD is not, there's not just one way to do computer design. It's really like any way that works for you, then that's perfect. For a lot of cases, it really doesn't matter what way you do it if you get to what you're trying to design. These are, remember, computer design is just a tool to get to like the idea that you're thinking of, just to get it possible, right? At the end of the day, it's just a tool. So now that we have the letters of PKM, the cool thing that we're actually going to do is we're just going to delete the image, delete sketch entity, because you already have the lettering and that's all you need. So next thing that we're going to do is press the check mark, press extrude, and we're going to go ahead and click remove. We're going to name, instead of extrude one, we're going to name PKY logo details remove. And click the lettering of PKO. Oh man, I forgot the inside of the E. I'll do that in a sec. And we're gonna remove it 0.1. What it does is it's removing material. It's making a hole. But we're gonna fix that in a second. make an E real quick. Having the image would be easier, but since we deleted it, you can add it back, but I'm just going to make a E like this. There you go. You have your E. Good. There you go. Okay. There you go. PKM. And then what we're going to do is, since we removed it, we're actually going to add it back. And the reason for this is that we're going to add it as a new part. And basically, when we print it, it'll be a different color. Like you'll see two different colors, but it will be flat instead of having a bump. Instead of blind, it's easier just to do up to face, so you have to figure out what thickness you need. And up to face is you just click the face that you want it to be until, and make sure it's new. And once you click, instead of extrude one, make sure it's PKY logo details extrude, and boom, it's flat, but you'll be able to see the difference. And actually just change the appearance of it just so it's easier for you. I'm just going to name it black, and there you go. You have your PKN logo. And once you print it, you'll see the PKN logo. Like you'll see it. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to make it like a little border. So we're going to go ahead and click extrude again, remove. Instead of extrude one, we're going to go ahead and click PKY logo border remove. And click unhide sketch. And click the rectangle that we created. And instead of 1 inch, we're going to name it 0.1 inches. And there you go. It's kind of like a little nice border touch. So next thing that we're going to do is create the UF logo. Okay, so we're going to make the UF logo next. And we're going to make a sketch on this surface here. And the cool thing that you can do is you can right click the surface that you're making a sketch from and click view normal to sketch plane. And that just brings it to the sketch plane. And what we're going to do is click this line here on the right. Click it once, left click it, and click use that you see here. Click construction first and then you click use. And this makes it a construction line. What that does is it's basically transferring the line from the previous sketch that it was on to this sketch. And now you can use that line however you want. Now that you have it on, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and click the text tool, make a text here, doesn't matter how big, and we're just going to click UF. Just type that. And instead of edit text, and then instead of Noto Sans Japanese, we're going to use Roboto Slab. The reason for that is because I just did some testing on what looks more UF like. What's a font that looks more like UF, and this was like my opinion what it looked more like UF, just like the blocky letters. But you can use whatever font you like. And then we have that. And we're going to put some dimensions now. It's going to be 0.05 away from the right hand side, 0.05. And then from the top it's going to be 0.07. And then the height of it is going to be 0.35. Good. Makes it a little bigger. You're going to go ahead and instead of sketch one, you're going to call it UF logo sketch. There you go. Click the check mark. We're going to go ahead and remove. We're going to go ahead and click extrude. UF logo remove. Click remove. Click the UF letters. And remove it by a depth of 0.05. Click remove, and then you're going to click extrude again, and put UF logo extrude, basically we're doing it so it's flat. You can see it, but it's flat. Extrude, and then click New, and then click the letters, UF, and instead of blind, just do up to face, and you're gonna do this face. There you go. And now you have UF, and then you're just gonna like want to color it, just so you can see the contrast. Boom, now you have UF. Okay, next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna chamfer. We're gonna add a little bit of detail, so we're gonna click chamfer, and this what it does is instead of for distance, we're gonna click 0.2, and we're gonna chamfer the edges. It's kind of like a small detail that you can add. And instead of chamfer 1, you're gonna put base chamfer since you're chamfering the base. And chamfer is just like when you remove material a certain type of way. So chamfering is when you remove material like an angle, like a what is that? Like a 45-degree angle. It removes the material. As you can see there, it's like a 45-degree angle. Cuts the material from the corners. Now the comparison is a fillet and a chamfer. A fillet makes it round corners. So you can see here, if I put like 0.2 fillet, it'll round the corner. Now in manufacturing, there's pros and cons for if you want to use a fillet or a chamfer. When you add fillets, you typically add fillets to connecting pieces. So for example, I would add a fillet here, connecting the PK logo with the base, so that when it's manufactured, it has more, it's more structurally strong, and it won't break off as easily because you have this corner here that's connected, instead of it only like being not connected with like a corner. It's like more structurally strong when you have that little piece of material. Um, so that's why you would add a fillet when you're connecting two pieces like this together. Just like small manufacturing stuff that you might do. Um, some of it is for aesthetics. Most of it is for a reason, like to add, to make it stronger, make it sturdier. But this one is just for aesthetics. And it's also for safety. So for example, you fillet the corners of your designs so that when you have your design in hand and you feel the edges, it doesn't feel sharp or like too pointy. When it's filleted, it feels round and smooth, so that you don't cut yourself possibly, or it doesn't hurt, or you don't feel uncomfortable touching the corners or pieces of your part. So that's why you typically fillet the edges of your stuff so that it's rounded. The other way of doing it is just sanding it with sandpaper once it's done, but you can just go ahead and fillet when you're doing the design process. It's just easier, it cuts time, and when you print it out, it'll be smooth and ready to use for whatever you're using it for. So we're gonna go ahead and chamfer the edges, and after that, we're going to make a sketch on the base, top of the base. You're gonna name it name base sketch. There you go. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a line from this point here, straight down, boom, and just left click this surface here. You can see it's highlighting, and just use click use convert, and you're gonna convert this line. You're basically making a closed shape, and you can see it's gonna turn black. There you go. Now it goes all the way up to here. You're gonna go ahead and click trim and trim this part of the line. You only want this shape right here, and you're gonna go ahead and click check mark, and you're gonna go ahead and click extrude, rename it to name base extrude, and you're gonna extrude it for 2.25 inches up, and make it add instead. And then you can just actually hide the top plane, you won't need it anymore. And after you do that, we're gonna do an angle remove. So click this surface here on the side to make a sketch, go on the right plane, and instead of sketch 1, you're gonna name it name base remove sketch. This is just naming conventions I use for like this type of stuff, but you can use whatever naming convention is easier for you to understand to keep things organized. Okay, what we're gonna do next is we're gonna, you see this line here? This line? Click construction and click use. What that does is it transfers that line to this sketch. So you can use it as a point of reference. And then the next thing that we're gonna do is click this line here and click use, and you click construction and use, and you see this line transfers too. And all we're gonna do is we're make a line from the 2 points, and then go all the way up. So yeah, so make a line. You're basically making a triangle. You're gonna click use on this point too to convert that point, and you're making a triangle. There you go, and there you go to make that close shape. After that, you can go ahead and click check mark, and then click extrude and name it to name space remove, and make sure you have this little corner here removed as well. There you go. And you're gonna go all the way. Easy way is that instead of blind, you're gonna do up to face, and you're gonna do this face. Boom. Awesome. There you have your slanted nameplate. There you go. Next thing that we're gonna do is that we're gonna fillet some edges to make things rounded, like I was explaining earlier. Now this is just up to you what edges you want to fillet. I'm gonna fillet basically all of them, to be honest with you. So to make things rounded, and instead of 0.02, I'm gonna put 0.305. As you can see, I'm filling the edges. Boom. There you go. Sometimes some edges won't let you fill it, and that's okay. It's just because there might be limiting space that you have, and it just won't let you. Might not have enough space. Okay. Yeah, it's fine how it is. You won't really see the difference either. Okay. That's basically all of them. What if I point zero? Let me do this one. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. You might have to do another fillet, and it'll let you. Why should it let me? Oh, there you go. There you go. It lets me fillet that edge now. Okay. So now you have all things filleted. Next thing you're going to do is this is where you put the name of the person. You make a new sketch, go to this surface here, and click and name it replace name sketch. This is a sketch that for every teacher person that you make the nameplate to, this is all you have to change the name. So we're going to go ahead and click normal to sketch plane. That'll take us to the sketch plane. And what we're going to go ahead and do is just take the top line here and click construction convert. And that converts that. You're going to go ahead and click shift S or point and get the middle point of that line. And then make a construction line through the middle. So line construction all the way to the middle. Boom. You're actually going to convert this line too to construction. Okay. Next thing that we're going to do is that we're going to go ahead and click text, make the text. I'm just going to put my name, for example, so Joseph Santiago. You can put whatever name of the person you're doing, so I'm just going to put Joseph Santiago. And make a point in the middle of the line here for Shift S, and click coincident, click that point, and click this line. And then this is where, like, depending on how long the name is, you can customize it to be in the middle. So for example, I'm going to make this like 5 inches. Let's just see how big that is. I don't want to make it extremely big like that because that just makes it humongous when you print it out. So maybe I'll do a little bit smaller. You want their name to be big, but not like extremely big. It's just like whatever you think is reasonable. I think, maybe I'll make it a little bit smaller. There you go, 5.75 or something. There you go. And then whatever, if the person wants their role too added. So for example, I'm co-founder of a nonprofit organization. So I might put co-founder of a assistive technology organization. I might just put co-founder. There you go. And just do the same thing where I coincident to the middle. And I have my role, right? You can put whatever the person's role is too on there. And this is where you kind of like customize it a little bit. So you're going to put like 0.3 distance from it. There you go, 0.3 distance. And okay, so what we're going to do is, what I actually did is I made a line, a construction line from this point to this point, and then I made a point in the middle, and that's like a reference point, and I made a construction line from this line to this line at the bottom. And then we're going to go ahead and click the horizontal constraint and constrain those two. And that just makes it so you can't move this. It's horizontal to this point. And then that way, it's directly in the middle. Like the name and everything is directly in the middle. So once you have your name, go ahead and click check, and click extrude, and click remove, name, remove, and then remove it 0.1 inches. And then we're going to extrude it back. Make sure it's new, name, extrude. And then up to face, this face. And you just want to grab each letter. No, hold on. Make sure it's new. There you go. Just going to make a different color. Awesome. And the last thing that we're going to do is that since we're attaching like a gator fidget to it, make a sketch on this surface right here. You don't want to sketch fine. And then take this line, click use, make it a construction line, click construction, make a point in the middle of it, so shift S, point, and then take that line, get this line, click construction and use, and then make a construction line from this point to this line. And it'll have a yellow line, like as a reference, like a what's perpendicular 45 degrees. So click that, and you just want to make a square. So center point rectangle works on the line. Make it 0.3 by 0.3 inches. This is where we're going to be attaching the gator to, like its foundation, its base. And then what we're going to do is where it says where you have linear pattern, you're going to go and click the down arrow and click transform. And this lets you rotate shapes. So for example, I want to rotate it 45 degrees. Click check mark. Oh, never mind. Yeah, click transform. Click where you want to transform, and you see this little circle here? You can move that to wherever your point of rotation is. I want my point of rotation to be the middle of the square, so that when you rotate it, it'll stay in the same spot. Click check mark, and then we're going to do is click this line here, and click the point that you made, and we want it to be 0.6. Okay, there you go. You have your square. I'm just gonna make it. I'm just coincident, just so it's. There you go. Okay. Okay. You can go ahead and rename this to be Gator Pillars Sketch. Press check mark. Press extrude. And you can name it to be Gator Pillars Extrude. You can actually just click add for this one. This doesn't have to be a new part. And make it 0.5 inches. Click add. Now you're extruding it. Click check mark, and you're going to want to fill it the square. Let's go ahead and just fill it every edge. There we go. Every face. And we're going to fill it at 0.02. There we go. And Gator Pillars Fillet is what we're going to name it. Click check mark. And there you have it. You have your completed nameplate with, this is where you put the Gator's fidget, but that's, you design that another way. So you have your PKM, your UF, and then your name, and then whatever role. So if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you so much for watching.